Tasmania, tools for your one place study. Hello and welcome to All About That Place. My name is Kelly Cornwell. I'm a professional genealogist, speaker, and blogger. And today I would like to share with you some tips for researching in Tasmania. I'd like to begin with a little background on the history of Tasmania, or Lutruwita to give it its proper name. The indigenous people of Lutruwita, known as Palawa or Pakana, were first visited by the Dutch in the mid 1600s, led by explorer Abel Tasman. He named the island Van Diemen's Land after the Governor General of the Dutch East Indies. A century later, Britain was facing a huge problem. Rising crime rates across the country were causing overcrowding in prisons. Convicts had previously been transported to the Americas, but the American Revolutionary War brought an end to this. A solution was found with Captain James Cook's discovery of the east coast of Australia, and the first fleet of British convicts arrived in Botany Bay, New South Wales in 1788. Following a series of conflicts with France in the late 1700s, England established a settlement in Van Diemen's Land in 1803 to prevent the French taking control of the island. A second Antipodean penal colony was built in Hobart, welcoming convicts from 1804. Now, running these territories was a costly business, and the British government were keen to turn Van Diemen's Land into a self-sufficient dominion. To develop the settlement and expand the population, free settlers were encouraged to make a new life in this new world with the opportunity to apply for a grant of land. These wealthy settlers supported the penal system by taking on convicts as labourers and servants. Retired military men and poorer but skilled workers, such as farmers, were also incentivised to immigrate with the promise of passage, work, and even small plots of land in return for local service. With all these men in the colony, the government faced another problem. There were not enough women to satisfy their needs. Yes, there were female convicts, and some officers and free settlers had brought wives with them, but the populace was significantly male heavy. A scheme was introduced to supply the colony with female companionship, shall we say, and of course, the long term plan of expanding the population to create a strong community. Advertisements for single ladies likely to conduct themselves creditably and usefully were published and distributed widely. As you can imagine, the various government sponsored programs, in addition to the transportation and management of convicts, created a vast array of records, many of which have survived and can be invaluable to historians in building a picture of a place, its inhabitants, and their day to day experiences. So, where to begin, and how do we locate these records? Well, first, you might try the main genealogical websites and explore their online catalogues. The Family Search database has over 600 results for record sets associated with Tasmania. Some are available to view online, but most need to be examined in a Family Search Centre or the Family History Library in Utah. The collection includes biography indexes, censuses, church records, colonisation history, convict records, directories, court records, and much, much more. Family Search also have the wonderful wiki site, which is a great tool for understanding where else we might access these records online. For example, records of settlers and convicts of New South Wales and Tasmania 1787 to 1859 can be explored at Find My Past. The Find My Past catalogue delivers 18 results for Tasmanian collections. These can be viewed with a Find My Past subscription, unlike Family Search, which is free. Similarly, Ancestry requires a paid subscription to view any of their 23 series of Tasmanian records. These genealogy sites, whilst very useful, have digitised just a fraction of what is held in archives and libraries. Starting at home here in England, the National Archives has numerous record sets concerning the administration of the colony of Van Diemen's Land. Series C0201 contains original correspondence relating to free settlers emigrating to Van Diemen's Land up to 1825. C0280 continues the collection of Tasmanian correspondence after 1825 until 1900. Series MH12 consists of communication between local government boards, the Poor Law Commission, the Poor Law Board, the Poor Law Unions, and other local authorities. Covering the years 1834 to 1900, these records detail paupers seeking to emigrate to Van Diemen's Land and the home parishes who would bear the cost. Lists of settlers and convicts, including general musters and a census of 1828, can be found in Series H010. These records name convicts and former convicts with information about their sentences, employment, settlement, pardons, and land and cattle acquired by them. Jumping over the oceans now, the Tasmanian branch of the National Archives of Australia and the Tasmanian Archives, part of Libraries Tasmania, hold vast collections of records for the island. I'd like to add at this point that Van Diemen's Land was officially renamed Tasmania after the Dutch explorer Abel Tasman on the 1st of January 1856. However, individual records and collections are often described as Tasmanian, irrelevant of their date. The archives have a wide variety of documents associated with education, prisons and courts, hospitals, migration, not to mention births, baptisms, marriages, deaths, and burials. Both online catalogues are excellent, and the staff are very helpful and friendly to researchers from overseas. Like our National Archives, most records need to be examined in reading rooms, but there are ongoing projects to digitise collections. Newspapers, in particular, along with government gazettes, maps, pictures, letters, and diaries, can be viewed online at the brilliant Trove website. Digital copies have been made easily accessible for free through partnership with many Australian organisations. The Australian and Tasmanian archives both have great research guides to help understand what records have survived, what they may contain, and the context of their creation. But there are also other useful websites to aid research in Tasmania. The Society of Australian Genealogists has a great collection of historic papers and pictures, not to mention lots of online courses and events, a members magazine, and even a podcast. Anyone researching a place should join a local history society and family history society. I cannot recommend enough the importance of local knowledge, and where better to find it than a local group. Most welcome overseas researchers, and online events are accessible no matter your location. The brilliant Australian family historian has a very helpful list of Tasmanian history societies on his website, covering various locations across Tasmania. With such a rich history of transported convicts being sent to the island, it's no surprise there are a number of sites dedicated to the subject. Digital Panopticon, Founders and Survivors, and Convict Records are three of the best. But my most favourite is the fantastic website Female Convicts Research Centre. Featuring histories of the British justice system, transportation, and convict ships, the compilation of data is priceless. There are short stories and blogs with biographies of some girls and women of the penal colony, in addition to a thoroughly comprehensive account of the convict institutions, painting us a picture of everyday life in early Tasmania. The jewel in the crown of this project is the database of female convicts. Although a bit clunky to access, it's an absolute must for anyone researching this subject. Offering information found from a variety of original records, and each one is referenced, the database can reveal all sorts about an individual, from the trial before transportation occurred, relatives, birth and baptism dates, to colonial offences, incidents of absconding, and entries in the punishment book. It's a veritable treasure trove for historians researching in Tasmania. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed my talk and have learned something new and useful today. If you have any interesting stories about your Tasmanian research, or would like to share some amazing sources you've come across in your own study, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me through my website, whoamiresearch.com, email kelly@whoamiresearch.com, or find me on most social media platforms with the handle @whoamiftr. Bye for now.